Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another video in our game animation sample project we are working on. Let's just continue adding stuff. I noticed a few issues, especially after the targeting stuff. What you see, first thing is we hit when we shouldn't hit. We hit it very easily, like I shortened the trace here. But you see, that was clearly not a hit, but still it hit here. And we have another issue with the attack rotation, I believe. Like, look, I'm attacking now, but I'm not. I should now always be rotated towards that character, like even when attacking. You see, if I attack, it's a bit hard to show, but if I just keep attacking, you can see that I stop actually rotating towards the enemy. And we need to make sure that lock-on thing is attached better as well. Okay, so a few fixes. In the last, I actually ruined this attack rotation thing. So this is how your project looks from the last video. And I removed the attack rotation stuff from here. But we actually need the attack rotation stuff here because there's this attack rotation, the first one. If we are locked on, this does nothing. And technically this should be enough to rotate you, but for some reason we need to actually force the character rotation when the attack rotation thing is on. So we want to get attack rotation. So if we are locked on and we have a target and attack rotation is true. So if attack rotation is false, we're just going to rotate as normal. But if it's true, we're going to take this piece, and this is the piece that this one that I saved from last time. I had a hunch I was using it somewhere. So we're going to take that, but we're going to exchange a few things. Because it looked like this before. So I'm just going to copy it over so you can compare. So basically, this was the rotate. Actually, it is the same. Current target, get active rotate location. Yeah, it is pretty much the same. So what we're doing is basically we're rotating between the current rotation of our actor and the target is the look at rotation between our owning character's location and the current target location. And we know we have a current target because we already have this is valid here. And if we don't have a current target, we would try to find the next one. And we have a pretty quick interpolation speed here because the normal rotation is 10. I'm going to put this to like 25. Seems to do the trick. So if attack rotation is true, we're going to rotate towards the character quicker, the target quicker. So you can see now I cannot get past. Doesn't matter what I do, I always attack towards the target. So that is perfect. I'm gonna find my sword to solve the next thing. This one. I'm gonna put the trace somewhere like there is probably fine. There is fine. Let's put it there. And the thing is that we are, if we search for perform weapon trace, we are tracing on the visibility channel, which makes sense because we want to hit stuff that is visible. So if I now open this master NPC, the damage is from the point damage on the actual owner. So we need to get this mesh, and you see visibility is ignored. And visibility, even if I set the visibility here to ignore, this shouldn't be ignored. So it looks like we have no visibility channel here, so we shouldn't be able to damage our enemy. But we are, for some reason. So that confused me a little bit, then I remembered that we have to debug it. I know the reason, but I'm showing you just so you can follow the debug. So what I'm doing here is basically I'm print stringing the hit component here, so that I know what actually it is that's causing this hit. And you now see up in the left corner it says widget component. So, okay, so it's the widget. So let's go into our master MPC. We have this lock-on widget that gets created on startup. So we just need to, at the end of this chain, set the widget collision to no collision. And take the mesh of the MPC and make sure that blocks visibility. And now it's only the mesh of the MPC that should trigger damage. And it feels better now again. It looks like it's mostly triggering when I actually hit the enemy. And yeah, this upswing animation isn't the best one for gameplay, I feel like. It looks cool, but it actually hits quite poorly. So probably replace that animation with something else, but yeah. That seems to do the trick. So that's also one more thing fixed. So let's remove this print string. Let's turn off the debug here. And on this, I also set this should be hidden in game, the capsule. And we are back to normal and can now damage lock on and attack rotate while locked on. What we also need to do though is we also need to fix the lock on thing. How do I add this? Attach to component, mesh, maybe spine 02. Also, the scale should be keep world. Just gonna. There we go. That looks better. And obviously you can set it to whatever you want. If you want it higher, you could do spine 03 or 04 or whatever bone. S1 03 is fine and it stays in place quite alright. So let's keep it at that. I'm happy with that. And I noticed another issue. For some reason I can't change my direction when I'm rolling, which I should be able to do. So I'm also gonna fix that up. Wherever I have that. Try dodge roll. And I'm not actually rotating here, so maybe I need a state. I can't remember how I wrote it. Yeah, of course I can. It's on the. So this is what's actually attack rotate locked on false. Called toggle weapon trace. So it's the weapon trace. Did I not do the dodge roll in a video? Let me pause. I'm confused. Oh, my computer is going bananas. What's happening? There is OBS. Okay. All right. What is up? I have the issue, or we have a few things we're gonna change, because if we search for attack rotate, we have this toggle weapon trace, and we have this. So when the trace ends, we stop attack rotation. That is actually fine when I think about it. Do we have anything we can use here? I mean, we need a state for actual input rotation as well. So we're gonna go to the component animation, notify states. We're gonna duplicate this state input rotation. And we're gonna open it up, begin. We're gonna make a new interface. So EI combat component call set input rotation, because we might want to use the input rotation for more stuff than just the attack, like the dodge roll, for instance, and there could be many more things in the future, so we don't want it to be tied to the attack trace, basically. So use input rotation. So in the state here, call set input rotation. Call set input rotation. It's gonna be true on begin. On the notify begin. And if you don't have this, you can find them in the override here. That's where you find these events. Notify end. We're gonna disable this. Perfect. So event call set input rotation. Gonna make a new variable called e input rotation. Gonna set it like so. And this input rotation will now replace our attack rotation, basically. So try tick attack rotation, should be input rotation. Same here. Input rotation. So we don't, yeah, exactly. We're just using the input rotation now. So what we need to do is basically gonna find our sword, EP master weapon. Gonna find the master melee weapon, attack montages. So for each of the montages, I'm now gonna add a new state, which is gonna be the state input rotation. So from here to, yeah, I don't know, something like that. Add a new notify track, do this for all of the attacks. And we're also gonna do it for our dodge. Where do we have the dodge? Try dodge roll. There's the animation. We're gonna add it here as well. Let's see how that looks. So we can now rotate when attacking. Still works when attacking. Works when we're dodge rolling. And when we lock on, we still have a good lock on. That is perfect. And I do realize we actually do need this to be different, I think. Yeah. So let's go back, because there's a reason we do need, so the attack rotation specifically, like when we are locked on. When we are locked on, the attack rotation should be used, but when because I'm trying to dodge away from this character now, and I should still be able to do that when I am locked on, I believe. The question is, should that be a specific dodge roll animation then, or should I actually rotate away from the character? I mean, there's two different ways you could solve this. You could either just do this, and then when you are locked on, you have an actual animation for rolling back towards or the sides or to the sides without actually rotating the character. But since we are lacking animations, let's just do it like this. We are going to keep the attack rotation. Attack rotation. And the input rotation will be separate from the attack rotation. So we're gonna take this. So if the input rotation is true, take the delta seconds here, something like that. We're gonna rotate, so if the input rotation is true, so from the dodge, if we are locked on and we are trying to dodge, which uses the input rotation, we're gonna not rotate towards the target, we're gonna rotate towards the input direction. If we're using it, if attack rotation is true, we're gonna attack towards the target, and otherwise we're also gonna rotate towards the target, but a bit slower. If that makes sense. So the input rotation and the attack rotation are actually two separate things, which means that in the attack montages, we should now all of a sudden remove that thing because the attacks themselves don't need a state to rotate. they will instead use the input rotation. The attack rotation variable that gets set to true when we light attack. So try melee attack will set attack rotate to true, so that's not using a state. And when we exit the weapon trace, we're gonna stop the attack rotation. So that's what takes care of the attack rotation, while the dodging actually uses the input rotation bool. So if I now look on, you can see I can now still roll away. But if I attack again, I'm gonna rotate. So I can roll away, rotate, roll away, rotate. So I can roll away even though I'm locked on to the enemy. And that looks like it's working. Perfect. All right, 21 minutes. That's gonna be it for this one. We did fix some stuff, and it's actually feels like we're getting somewhere, so that's good. Please let me know in the comments if you find any issues or if you have any questions or suggestions of stuff to add. We're gonna add back some effects here with some blood and stuff. I'm not sure, I can't remember why that's gone if I disabled it on purpose. We're gonna add back some effects. Let me just see so everything actually replicates. Seems to replicate fine. So that is good. Perfect. That's gonna be it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Bye.